In this problem, it says you would like to save $250,000 for retirement. If you are planning to retire 30 years from now, how much should you deposit each month into an account that pays 7.2% interest compounded monthly? What is the total interest earned? So one thing that I really want to highlight about this question is that it's not only asking you one question, but it's asking you two questions. So it's asking you how much you should deposit each month into an account that pays 7.2% interest compounded monthly. So that's the first question. And then the second question is, what is the total interest earned? So now we're finding two things. So first, we would need to identify the information that the problem has given us. So it says you would like to save $250,000 for retirement. And honestly, with these problems, it's really about reading the words. It says you would like, so that indicates that you don't have the $250,000 right now, but that's what you want to get in the future. So 250,000 is going to be a goal for us. And the 250,000 can either be our A, if we're just doing compounded interest, or it could be our FV, if we're doing future value. So then we'll identify what type of formula that we'll use when we read further. So now it's saying if you are planning to retire 30 years from now, and 30 years is the time that you're giving yourself to accumulate $255,000 for your retirement. So now in the first question, that's when we can identify whether we're solving for the formula for FV or A. The first question is asking us, how much should you deposit each month? So it's one thing to deposit once. Depositing once would only give you P, but if you're depositing multiple times, such as depositing each month, then that would be your PMT. And your PMT is always associated with your FV, with your future value formula. So we can write the full formula out as FV equals PMT 1 plus I, which can be R of M, R divided by M, parentheses to the N power, which could be MT, minus 1 all over I. And this is the formula that we're going to be using, at least to solve for problem 1. So now that we've identified the formula, which is our first step, we're going to identify the information that we're going to use to plug it into the formula. So our FV is 250,000. Our PMT is what we're looking for, because remember the question's asking how much should you deposit each month, which is our PMT. So we're looking for our PMT. And then it says into an account that pays 7.2%. So we're going to convert that as the rate into a decimal format. So it's going to be 0.072. Interest compounded monthly. And this is how we find our M. There's 12 months in 1 year. So now we have our rate as 0.072 and our M as 12. And this is also another way to find our I. And then it gives us our T, which is 30 years. Because remember, it says if you are planning to retire 30 years from now, okay? So now that we have all this information, we have to plug it into the formula, which will be our third step. So we have FB as 250,000 equals PMT, which is what we're trying to find. parentheses 1 plus our I, which is another way of saying R over M, which is 0.072 over 12, parentheses to the n power, which is our M times our T. Our M is 12 and our T is 30. Minus 1 all over our I, which is 0.072 over 12. And once you're able to calculate what's inside the parentheses, so in this case, I'm going to calculate everything in here, and whatever we get in here is going to be multiplied by our PMT. So as of now, I don't have the full answer for whatever is in the parentheses, so I'll just use a variable to represent it. So for instance, A, I'll just use A to represent it. So whatever A represents. Okay, so once we get what's inside the parentheses, we want to solve PMT by isolating it. So then we would divide A on both sides to cancel out A on the other side with PMT, and then that would leave PMT by itself. And you should get the answer as 205,000 over A, which is really what's inside the parentheses, equals PMT. And you can rewrite it as 250,000 over everything that's inside the parentheses. So 1 plus 0.072 over 12 to the 12 times 30 minus 1 all over 0.072 over 12 equals our PMT.